Look at this 3D map of the North Atlantic Basin. This 500,000 square mile sector handles some of the densest global trade routes on the planet, yet it actively operates as a geographic graveyard. Historically, over 1,000 commercial aircraft and seafaring vessels have vanished completely inside these exact borders. What separates this specific area from standard nautical wreck sites is how these events happen without a single distress signal or SOS broadcast ever being deployed. The common denominator here is a terrifying vacuum of physical evidence. When a ship or plane goes down in this sector, search crews never recover a single floating particle of debris or any human remains. Take a look at this historical photograph showing a formation of TBM Avenger torpedo bombers. In December 1945, 5 of these military aircraft, designated Flight 19, departed on a routine tactical training run with elite crews into perfectly clear weather. 90 minutes after takeoff, the primary navigation instruments failed completely. The flight leader radioed mission control in a state of profound spatial disorientation, reporting that their magnetic compasses were spinning erratically, and the ocean itself looked completely wrong. The military immediately deployed a massive search effort, including the large PBM Mariner flying boat seen in this profile photograph. With a heavily equipped crew of 13, it flew directly into the transmission grid and vanished from radar tracking within 5 minutes. This aerial anomaly mirrors earlier nautical disasters. This image shows the immense scale and heavy metal truss structure of the USS Cyclops. In 1918, this 542-foot military collier entered the region carrying 10,800 tons of heavy manganese ore and 306 people, never to be seen again. This perfect vacuum of physical evidence birthed a century of supernatural theories. To understand what actually happens out there, we have to forensically deconstruct the extreme physical forces operating within the region's environment. We have to look at the mechanics of the impact. What specific forces are capable of taking down ships and planes so rapidly that crews have zero time to initiate emergency communications? Satellite imaging has identified a distinct meteorological anomaly sitting right over the western apex. Massive, perfectly geometric, 6-sided hexagonal clouds, spanning 20 to 50 miles in diameter. These formations act as meteorological air bombs. Cold, localized air separates from the upper troposphere, dropping directly onto the ocean's surface at terminal velocities exceeding 170 miles per hour. When these violent wind downbursts hit, they create localized microclashes of wind shear capable of snapping commercial aircraft wings in midair, and they whip up 45-foot rogue waves that will instantly capsize a fully loaded cargo vessel. The physics of destruction extend to the seabed. Geological marine surveys have isolated massive reserves of solid methane hydrate trapped beneath the continental shelf sediment. This 3D cross-section shows what happens when localized tectonic shifts or underwater landslides trigger those reserves. High-pressure pockets of frozen gas crystals violently fracture, releasing a massive upward plume of expanding methane gas. As millions of cubic meters of gas expand, it triggers a severe fluid dynamics reaction that reduces the bulk density of the water column to near zero. A seafaring vessel entering this plume instantly loses all buoyant force and drops completely level to the ocean floor in under 30 seconds. Both the hexagonal atmospheric air bombs and the deep-sea methane eruptions achieve the exact same result: instantaneous structural failure. The destruction happens so fast, the crew literally cannot reach a radio. Once a vessel is violently destroyed, we have to explain how the region covers up the physical evidence. This 3D bathymetric cross-section maps the absolute core of the region, where the shallow continental shelf abruptly collapses into a steep-sided underwater canyon known as the Puerto Rico Trench. The trench drops below 27,000 feet into the abyssal plains, a depth where hydrostatic pressure crushes down at over 800 atmospheres. At that immense pressure, any breached metal hull instantly implodes and sinks into a pitch-black abyssal zone, completely inaccessible to modern exploratory sonar arrays. While the heavy steel is swallowed by the trench, lighter floating debris is handled by the Gulf Stream, a powerful oceanic current moving steadily at 5 miles per hour. This map of surface currents shows the Gulf Stream acting as a massive underwater conveyor belt. Lighter debris is swept up and transported hundreds of miles away from the initial impact zone within mere hours. It is a brutal two-step trap. The abyssal trench permanently swallows the heavy steel, and the swift Gulf Stream vacuums up the floating debris, wiping the structural crime scene entirely clean before rescue fleets can even establish a search grid. There is no supernatural gateway here. There is no mystical magnetic glitch. The region is simply a rare, complex intersection of three extreme physical domains: volatile marine geology, violent micrometeorology, and abyssal bathymetry. Understanding this data-driven blueprint does not make the anomaly any less terrifying. Instead, it proves that the forces operating beneath and above these waters are predictably highly lethal. Look at the sheer heavy mass of these dark ocean waves. Despite our advanced avionics and massive steel hulls, the ocean remains an inherently dangerous, unpredictable tactical domain, capable of both extreme violence and total erasure.